Hello, welcome to another Nickjitsu video. Today I'm going to be going over the second part of my kind of Allan Holdsworth pentatonics thing, and we're going to continue along the vein of the cheap budget concil pentatonic licks. In the first video, I went over the shapes that you might use, and I've also got another video where I perform a solo, which is it's kind of half worked out and half improvised. There's been a few comments remarking on the similarities between me and Allan Holdsworth. And I kind of wish it was my playing, but it's not. It's in other things like mannerisms and accent and stuff. But it is quite funny. It's quite spooky because we were actually born in the same place, probably in the same hospital, not at the same time, because I'm only 39 and a few months. But we were both born in Bradford.
Does that make you English then?
No. One of the reasons that Allan Holdsworth is so difficult to emulate and to understand a lot of his stuff is that he had his own kind of hidden harmonic language going on. There was an REH video that came out in the 90s. You can still find clips of it on YouTube. Part of it was the scales that he was showing with these kind of weird alien symbols over the top. And he saw scales slightly differently to the way that we might see like little positions like that. He'd see the whole neck opening up. Whenever you play Allan Holdsworth, it's always advisable to drink some Yorkshire beer. And today's Yorkshire beer is Theakston's Old Peculiar, which I haven't had since I was a student. Way back about 30 years ago when I would have been 9 and a few months. One thing that we'll do as a kind of warm-up is we're going to look at a different guitar player, Al Di Meola, who, when I was a kid, there was a thing circulating in one of the guitar magazines. It was an Al Di Meola exercise. And it was that one there. It's where you're playing 5, 6, 8 on the B string, and then 5 on the E string, and then coming back down. And you do it in triplets. That kind of thing. It's for all these kind of runs. If you've ever heard Friday Night in San Francisco, you'll recognize all the runs that come from that, and you'll hear that. You'll hear that quite a lot. You watch any of the Paul Gilbert videos, he does that kind of thing as well. And I've got it on one of my videos, the 5 finger exercises video, whatever it is. So if we take that into that kind of D minor, that kind of thing, and we just do it on the same idea, but on different frets, same strings. So we're going to be playing the 10th fret, 13th fret, 15th fret on the B, and then playing the 10th fret on the E, and then coming back down again. Now, if we do it Holdsworth style, we're going to play it more legato. So I only pick the first note on each string. You get that kind of thing. Now, it's a good warm-up. You can... There you go. It's that Van Halen note again. Anyway, so that's something you'll hear a lot, it's especially in Holdsworth's earlier playing, where he's doing that double note thing. I think Panic Station was the first time I heard him do it, where he changes the rhythm slightly. So instead of going up and down, where you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that, what he does, he plays the A, C, and D, and then he goes up to the D on the E string, and then comes straight back down to the A again. And you get this kind of tripping up effect. And you'll hear that a lot in Van Halen's playing, where he'd play 6 notes, but he wouldn't pick the second note. He'd pick, hammer, pick, 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 pick. So you get that kind of weird tripping up effect. So there you go. Holdsworth and Van Halen, the two ones that will trip you up the most. There's quite a few solos where you hear this kind of thing. That kind of idea. And all we're doing there is we're just playing that kind of middle part of the D pentatonic. So I'm just playing the 10th, the 12th, and the 15th on the D string, and then I'm playing the 10th on the G. And coming back down. And then sliding up to the 12th, and then playing the 12th, 14th, 17th, and then the 12th on the G. And sliding back down. One of the other things that he does is he'll do bigger intervals with that. Like that. I mean, I do a little bit of that in my little solo that I do, that I'll link down below. He does that lick on an album called Heavy Machinery. I think could be track 2, can't remember, with Anders and Jens Johansson. But that's another good album to kind of check out, especially for, I think it's Jens Johansson's playing. Fantastic keyboard player. Or another one that I remember from when I was looking at Holdsworth years ago. One lick caught my ear. I think it's because it was easy. I'm going to do this in D. I'm going to stick to D minor for everything, the D minor pentatonic. And all it is you're playing. All I'm doing here is I'm playing the 10th fret, 12th fret, 14th fret on the G, and then going up to the E string and playing the 10th fret and then the 13th fret, and then coming back down to the 10th fret on the E, and then all I'm doing is I'm just playing the 14th fret on the G, and then repeating the lick. There you go. Easy. But we're talking about Allan Holdsworth here. Nothing can be easy. So what he does is he alternates. And all he does, when he does it the second time, he plays the same thing, 10, 12, 14 on the G, and then 10 and 13 on the high E string. And then he adds a 15, fret 15, and comes back down. And then he does the same thing where he skips that 12th fret. So you get that kind of thing happening. So let's get into the meaty stuff now. One of the things that I use the most is tritones and tritone substitutions. And on some other instruments, they can be quite complex and all that kind of thing. What a tritone is 3 tones. Tri meaning 3, tones meaning tones. And all you do, if you're on D, we're going to stay in D, we're going to go up 1 tone, and another tone, and another tone, and we're going to find ourselves on A flat, like that. Now, watch this. There's D, there's A flat. Quite an easy thing to do. All you're going to do is you're going to think diagonally up, literally. Go up 1 fret, and go up 1 string, and that's your tritone. Whatever you play here, we can start flitting in between the two. One of the things you must do is that when you learn a new concept, a lot of people find it really difficult to play between 2 different scales that are from different keys over the same key. You've got to get the sound in your head first, and then that way, I'm sure you know the technique of singing what you want to play. I think that was right. My singing's not the best, that's why I'm not a singer. So you can see this kind of thing. So you can see you're just drifting between the 2 different keys. The way you'd use that is that you'd use that to create tension or to travel in a direction. One of the really cool things about the tritone is that tritone of D is A flat. What do you think the tritone of A flat is? D. It's D. So, you know, Jimi Hendrix even knew that. So, what's the tritone of B? It's F. What's the tritone of F sharp? Let's see. It's that easy. You're just going up that diagonal all the time. And another really cool thing, if we take another shape, this is my favourite shape in D, when I'm playing the 8th, the 10th, and the 13th. I just take that shape and I go, do the tritone substitution. To the tritone, to that tritone, back to the D minor again. Tritone, D minor, tritone. Easy. See how easy that is? That's tritone substitution. You don't need to go to music college for all this. Easy. So, that's tritones. Next one we'll look at, going up minor third. That's a very standard trick that a lot of piano players use. So there's your D pentatonic and F pentatonic. You notice I'm playing them in the same shape. Now, if you don't use the Holdsworth pentatonics, if you don't want to, we don't always want to kind of stretch our hands out. See what I mean? It's quite an easy kind of exchange to make. Again, it's another one that you don't particularly want to sit there and just go through each shape. Try and learn the shape around the shape that you're already playing, if that makes sense. If you use the Holdsworth shapes, same. It's shape 1, shape 5. When you start joining the two together, there's your F pentatonic. You notice that one of the notes is actually the blue note from your D blues scale. You get some really cool kind of blues licks coming out and just creates that tension. It's really, really good to create that tension before you go to the 4 chord. I guarantee you, if you start doing that and down the local dog and duck over, your classic blues rock stuff, play that funky music or whatever, it's going to turn a few heads and a few ears. Somebody might even buy you a pint. One thing you can do is when you start switching shapes like this, is choose a shape that you're comfortable with, like shape 4, but make the shape 4 the kind of one that you're changing to. So make the shape 4, I'd make the shape 4 the F. And then round about there, where I've got to work out where my D is, the kind of home key, if you like, and that would be shape 5. And then I want to be able to flip between the two anywhere on the neck. So it's worth taking time to kind of learn the shapes you're comfortable with, but from both perspectives. In this case, from the D minor and from the F minor perspective. When you're doing tritones, you want to do it from the D minor and the A flat perspective. Slonimsky. So let's talk about famous nicks now. One famous nick that had a massive influence on the likes of John Coltrane and thus Allan Holdsworth is a guy called Nick Slonimsky. I've got to practice saying that name. And he wrote a little bedtime read called The Thesaurus of Scales and Melodic Patterns. I won't spoil the ending, but what he wrote about was you can, instead of taking an octave, the 12 tones that are in an octave, instead of splitting them up into regular scales, major, minor, etc., what you do is you split them up mathematically. So you've got 12 semitones, or 12 frets in our case, and what you do is you split them up into equal parts. So splitting 12 equally down the middle gives you 6. So you end up with an E, a B flat, and then an E. So you've got the octave, and then you've got the tritone bang in the middle, which we've already covered. And then we can do it in 3 equal parts. So we go open, 4th fret to G sharp, then to B, to C rather, and then up to E again. So we get, that's kind of like your augmented sound. And then we can split it up again into 4 equal parts, and that would give us every 3 frets. So we've got E, G, B flat, C, D flat, and then back to E again. And that would give us a diminished arpeggio like that. And then you can split it up into 6 equal parts. So you've got every 2nd fret, which gives us our whole tone scale. And then the book goes on to do various little exercises, and there's pages and pages of stuff that you can go to help you drift off to sleep. It's not a boring book, but I wouldn't call it an easy read. What we're going to do is we're going to take these ideas one at a time. We've already done the tritone one. So if we split the octave between D and D in half, we get A flat, and that's the tritone. 3 equal parts, we get every 4 frets. So what we're going to get is we're going to get D, and then we're going to get F sharp, and then we're going to get B flat, and then we're going to get D again. So you can think of that, B flat, A sharp, whatever, like that. Now, what that means is that we can start playing and then going into F sharp pentatonic, and into A sharp pentatonic. And then back again. Now, it sounds a bit weird when you start doing it like that. And that's not the way I use it. And it's not necessarily the way that Holdsworth uses it either. What you will hear in Holdsworth's playing is this kind of thing. You'll hear something that starts on D, something that starts on F sharp, something that starts on A sharp, B flat, and then something that starts on D. And if you keep going, you've got F sharp, and then you've got A sharp there. Now, watch this. You're basically going that way now. We're going in a diagonal down the way. There's another scale that Allan uses that a lot of people talk about called the Messiaen scale. Kind of follows the same pattern. It's that same kind of augmented pattern. So we can come up with lines like this. Again, I'm going to keep it simple. Just start with that simple D pentatonic. So all I'm doing is I'm playing the 10, the 13, the 15 on the D, on the E string. And then I'm changing to F sharp pentatonic. So I'm playing the 9th, 12th, 14th. And then I'm changing to A sharp, and I'm playing the 8th, the 11th, and the 13th. And then back to the D pentatonic, I'm playing the 7th, 10th, and 12th. And then I'm going to stick to that because I'm going to play F sharp again. So it's 7, 10, 12. And then 6, 9, and 11 on the top string. So I'm playing A flat. So you get a lot of lines in Holdsworth's playing. One that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. That kind of thing from Devil Take the Hindmost. It's that kind of we're getting back into Ozzy Osbourne territory. And that's just taken a shape. In this case, he's playing the 10th, 11th, and 14th. And just continuing that down through the augmented pattern. But he's doing it as a kind of like you would play, a typical pattern like that. So again, we're not doing anything too far out there, but you get some great kind of that's another kind of Holdsworthism that I would say, yeah, that's definitely Holdsworth. Let's take the idea where we split the octave into 4 parts now. So we're going to get this kind of this kind of diminished idea. Now, we've already looked at where the F comes from that kind of idea. We've also got the A flat in there. Oh, it's a tritone. So there's only one that's left, and that's that B pentatonic right here. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of the B pentatonic against over a D minor thing, if we're playing in D minor. The kind of minor against major thing seems to work in blues where you've got a major chord, but you're playing a minor pentatonic over the top. It seems to work, but I just don't like it the other way around. I don't like a kind of major sounding scale over a minor chord. So instead, I don't quite like the B minor pentatonic over the top of D minor. You're not playing the whole thing. You're not hanging out on B minor pentatonic. You know, you get that clash of notes between the minor third and the major third. You get that, you know. Uncle Nick played me Happy Birthday and now I'm scarred for life. You know, that's the kind of thing that could possibly happen. So I don't like that sound, but you're only using it fleetingly. And one of the cool things about using the diminished, you kind of go the traditional way. You know, you go up like that and you play. And then you're back to the D kind of thing. But what you can do is that if you put it in a different order, you would get D, then you get F. But then instead of going up the way to the next string, we go up to the next string. So we're actually going down the way in 2 fret stretches. So we're getting that kind of thing. So that's how we're getting kind of more of a diminished kind of idea. So again, anything we play, then we're getting more movement and kind of more colours coming out. You can also sit there and kind of work out, you know, and then go to F, and then to A flat, and to B. And I always think of each of these as being like, if you're playing a D, and you play the D minor pentatonic over the top, it's kind of like, and then you play the A flat over the top, it's kind of like, ooh, and then you play the F over the top, that's kind of like, ooh, like that. So that's the kind of thing you want to create when you're telling a story and when you're soloing or creating melodies. You want to kind of have a, ooh, ooh, ah, That's the kind of thing you want to tell a good story. So the type of thing that I did in my little solo that would use that kind of diminished idea is I kind of took that. It's a lick from Devil Take the Hindmost. I kind of stole quite a bit from that. So I took that, the contour of the original lick and turned it into pentatonic. What I did was I was playing, it's a D minor, shape 5. So I'm playing 8, 10, 13. And then coming down chromatically, just pulling off. So that would be, you've already played the 13, so 12, 11, 10. And then straight down the shape 5 again to 13, 10, 8. And then coming into shape number 1, so I'm playing 10, 13, 15. And then I'm playing that. I don't know what scale that is, it just sounded nice. Straight to the F pentatonic. So 13, 16, 13, 18. And then I'm going to go straight up to the A flat pentatonic and play 16, 19, 16, what's that? 21. So there you go. Those of you with strats who have 21 frets will be most relieved because that's as high as we go for just now. Just 2 notes and then down the D minor pentatonic. No, down A minor pentatonic. And then play these notes from A minor pentatonic. And then play these notes from E minor pentatonic. And then back to D minor again. So you can see how I took a lick. I didn't copy it verbatim. I looked at the kind of movement and the contour, the shape of it, and then kind of borrowed that. We can divide the octave up into 6 parts now. So it's every second fret. And this is kind of easy. You just kind of, whatever you're playing at the time, you just kind of keep going up 2 frets at a time, and eventually you'll end up back at the start again. There's a really complex theory as to how that works. And I remember reading it and then just thinking, if you put it in this order, then you just go up 2 frets at a time. And ever since then, I just use that little trick every now and again. It works really well if you're, again, playing blues stuff or playing just over a 1 chord. Well, it works over everything, really. If I do it in A pentatonic. It works really well to kind of like create tension, then come back again. But you're not doing anything that your fingers don't know, and you're not going outside your comfort zone. You're literally just doing the same thing. As long as you remember to do it 2 frets at a time, it works perfectly. So in my little kind of Holdsworth sound-alike solo, I took a 3-note motif. Motif, get me, yeah. And all I did was go up a tritone and then go up 2 frets every time using the tritone. Until I found myself back in familiar territory of the shape 1 pentatonic. And then went up to E pentatonic and then did something that went straight down an E pentatonic, that kind of thing. These are a few little things that will give you that Holdsworthy kind of sound. They're not the only things, of course. So other little tricks that you can use. If you take the pentatonic scale, like the top part of it, and you move your pinky up a fret, you'll get that diminished kind of sound. And that's a great kind of, great thing for creating textures and firing around the fretboard. There's a lot of licks that he'll do where he'll, that kind of thing. And then again, you've got that kind of movement going down the way. But also, I can't remember what I just did, but if you start using the tritones, you can go up in a diagonal as well. There's other little Holdsworthisms that aren't necessarily pentatonic, but you'll hear all the time. Those kind of like little licks. That seems to appear a lot in his playing. And all that is, again, if I relate it to the pentatonic scale, you'd be playing fret 10 and fret 14 on the G, and then up to fret 13 on the B. And then we're kind of going to use this note quite a bit. It's the 10th fret on the E string. And then what we're going to do is go up to the 15th fret and play the 15, 14 back to the 10 again. 15, 14, 10, right there on the E string. And then we're going to come down to the B string, play the 14, and then we're going to go back to the E string and go down chromatically from the 13th to the 12th, and then back to the B string, and we're going to play the 14th, 13th, and then we're going to go back to, we're going to actually switch hand position here, and then do my least favourite thing in the world, Allan Holdsworth. We're going to do a 4th. So we're going to play the 12th fret on the E, 12th fret on the B. And then we're going to play chromatically down again from 15 to 14 on the B. From there, it could go in any direction. It could go down. So part of that lick is kind of one of Holdsworth's kind of main cliches, for want of a better word. Cliche is not a word you use very often when you're talking about Allan Holdsworth's music or his playing. But it is something, it's part of the thread of evidence of lunacy that runs through all his bits of music. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is something that I read in a magazine article in the Fantastic Guitar Player magazine. And it was in the 90s sometime. And the interviewer asked him, how far can you stretch? And Allan said he wasn't interested in knowing, because if you know your limitations, you're not going to go beyond that. I hope you managed to get some value out of this video. If you did, hit the like, subscribe, the doodah thing, the wee hand, all that kind of stuff. Go get yourself some Yorkshire beer. Try some of the licks that I've shown. Listen to lots of Allan Holdsworth and all the other people that I've mentioned.
Get the album on Bandcamp.
For now, Slán thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Yeah, I wonder if my speech will be affected by Yorkshire beer. Aye, now tech now.